All right, so let's go ahead and get started. My name is Karen Gandhi. I'm one of the support engineers here at QuizCom. So if any of you have any questions or issues with any of our products in the near future, it's very likely that myself or one of my colleagues will be able to assist you with any of your questions in the future. Now, today we're going to be doing a webinar on our multi-row forms app, also known as repeating rows, which is available for Office 365. It's essentially a port of our repeating rows field type, which is also available for on-premise installations on SharePoint 2010, 2013, 2016, and 2019 in the near future. Now with Repeating Rows app, you can easily create multi-row forms on Office 365, and there's no need for info path. The app enables non-technical end users to easily create multi-row forms such as expense reports, purchase orders, and there's no need for complicated tools that require power user skills. Business users can easily and quickly create multi-row forms. It's simply as adding a column to your list. Okay, so with Repeating Rows app, you could connect between a master list and a details list such as expense reports and expense details, which we'll demonstrate in this webinar. Now, before I begin this webinar, I just want to give you a little information on QuizCom. Now, we have over 60 powerful add-ons and apps that solve various SharePoint challenges, and QuizCom offers a solution for almost every gap in SharePoint. Now, you can visit our website, quizcom.com. We provide information on our on-premise products as well as our add-ons and our Office 365 apps. Now let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna take you through my my setup for my repeating rows. Now I've already created repeating rows for everyone, so I can start off with that and show you how it will show on your list in new item view. Now as you can see, I have 3 rows set up here. My field type I'm using for my first column is description. My second column is expense date. My third column is expense type. A fourth is cost, and the fifth is approved. Now, the description field is just a multi-line of text. The second one is just a date field. The third one is a choice field, which I can choose which expense type I'd like to choose within a choice field dropdown. Now the fourth one is a cost field, just a basic number field, and then the fourth is a yes or no button I've added here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start off with conference, Chicago. Description is, start with parking at conference. And the expense date I'm going to use is January 22nd. And I'm going to select parking here from the drop down. Now the cost was $25 for parking. It has been approved. Now I'm going to add another one. I'm going to put food at restaurant. Okay, and that was also on the same day, but the 22nd. I'm going to select other. And that was a cost of $35. And that was also approved. Next is fuel for car. Same day. Okay, and then I'm going to select fuel from there, and that was $25. That's approved. Now you'll notice that there's a summary on the bottom here for description, cost, and approved. Now you'll see that total expense claims is 3. Total cost is $85. So that's essentially just like a sum of everything within the cost field. And then total approved is 3. Now I'm going to go ahead and click save. Also, actually, I would like to mention that we do have an add row feature as well. So if you do want to add more rows, you can. on the fly. Now, if you did end up leaving an empty row within your repeating rows, that's totally fine. You just press save and it will not save that empty row. And then if you want, you can also remove it as well. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and click save. Okay, so now as you can see that all the information I've added to my repeating rows is shown within this master list, which is a repeating rows list, and it shows parking conference, food at restaurant, and fuel for car. Now here's my expense details list, and this is where I'm grabbing all my information from my repeating rows table. So description, expense date, expense type, cost, and approved. And you can see that all the information in this child list gets stored. So all the information I added in my repeating rows gets added into the child list. Now you're probably wondering, how did I create all this? Now I'm going to go ahead and show you from scratch how I created it with the repeating rows app. Okay, so let that load for a minute. Okay, so it's up and running. So now as soon as you install repeating rows, you'll see an app on your list ribbon that says manage repeating rows. Now this is where you can set up your repeating rows for this type of workflow I created. Now from here you can create a new column, but if you already have a column already created, you can just select existing column. So, but for this instance, I can create a new column. I can call it report. And you can see that you can, by default, you can choose how many rows you would like to add for your repeating rows column by default. Now, also, I mentioned earlier that you can add row on the fly. You can also rename this. You could put something like add new expense row. For now, I'll just leave it as add row. Now, for select target list, this is where I'll be selecting my my child list, where I'm grabbing those fields for my repeating rows, and this will be expense details. And over here, this is where I select the columns I want to use. So first, I'll select description and go with expense date, expense type, cost, and approved. Okay, now on the bottom here, you can see where the repeating rows has been configured. Now you'll see that there's ellipses here for each of the columns. Now for description, I'm gonna put account summary, and this just gives me a summary, like I showed you earlier, on how many total expenses there were. So I'll name this total expenses. And if you want, you can also change the width here, but I'll leave it as default for now. Okay, now I'm going to go with the cost. And this is going to be a sum. So this will give me a total of the cost field within repeating rows. Okay, and I'm going to do another one, but this is going to be account. It's going to total approved expenses. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and save this. And this is just a warning here that you're connecting a new column to a list that already has items. But if you're doing an existing column, you shouldn't get that unless you don't have any existing items. Okay, so I'm gonna let that load. I'm gonna save my changes. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and select new item. Okay, so here it is. So this is exactly what I set up on my report list. So I'm gonna call this just conference. I'm gonna add in a few. Let's parking. Another one for lunch. and fuel. Let's do 22. Okay, so let's make it parking, lunch, and fuel. 30 for parking, 25 for lunch. Fuel was 40. And you can see total expenses, total cost for expenses for 95, and total approved expenses 3. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And like I shown earlier, the items got added. Now you can see under the report, which is essentially a lookup field, but with repeating rows, we've added additional functionality from the out-of-the-box lookup field. So if I would go to my list settings, it'll show up as just like a regular lookup right here, but essentially it's enhanced function of the out-of-the-box lookup with additional JavaScript functionality. Okay, now also you can see that the additions I made to the repeating rows table is shown in my expense details in the child list. So the new additions were parking, lunch, and fuel, $30, $25, and $40 for those 3 additions. Okay, so now this concludes my webinar on repeating rows. As you can see, I was able to easily create multi-row forms in a couple of minutes with a few clicks of a mouse, and so can you. So I invite people to follow QuizCom and social media channels to stay updated on new products and versions and upcoming events and free products if you want to look at that as well. Now, if you feel like you want to contact us, you can contact us at support@quizcom.com, sales@quizcom.com, or activation@quizcom.com. And if you do have any other questions or require a personalized demo of any of your apps, add-ons for Office 365 or on-premise, you can send us an email to those 3 emails I provided to you. Okay, now I'll go ahead and I'll take you to our website to show you where you can download the Repeating Rows app. Okay, so you can see under the Office 365 apps, you'll see Repeating Rows app. Now, all our apps are free to use on SharePoint Online. The only caveat is that it'll show a banner saying you're using a free version. So if you don't want your users to see that banner, I would suggest contacting sales@quizcom.com, and they can provide you with a quote on getting you a full version of our Repeating Rows app. Now, to download and try, you can do that from the Repeating Rows overview page, and then it'll show you exactly how to install our apps and how to download the file so you can add it to your SharePoint Online. And we also have a user guide as well, which will explain how to install all our apps on Office 365.